Hi, I'm Faith,
And I'm Bailey.
and we're going to be discussing our article, Work Stress and Alcohol Consumption Among Adolescents, for our video presentation signature assignment. I will begin by saying, excessive alcohol use in adolescents can be detrimental to health and academic performance. It is associated with a number of adverse consequences, including depression and suicide ideation, motor vehicle crashes, and alcohol addiction disorders. Very few studies consider the moderating effects of parental and peer influences within context of adolescent work outside of school environment. This study aims to examine work stress among adolescents and the association with alcohol use and drunkenness in the context of parental and peer influences.
So now I'm going to be discussing the methods of gathering research. So what were the major techniques used in this study? So 12,341 students participated in a survey over the span of 4 years, so over 2005 to 2009. They used a multi-stage random sampling method, and the questions in the survey included topics such as alcohol use and drunkenness frequency, work stress, academic aspiration, parent and peer influences, and control variables such as general life satisfaction and average grades in school. The independent variables we used in the study were work stress, perceptions toward academics, and influences from parents and peers.
I'm going to be discussing the results of the study. And so high academic aspiration and positive parental influence were negatively associated with alcohol use and drunkenness, while negative peer influence increased alcohol use and drunkenness. So any work stress was positively associated with alcohol use, and peer influence significantly moderated the relationship between work stress and alcohol use. So to put that maybe more simply or in layman's terms, as students experienced work-related stress, their use of alcohol and alcohol consumption increased. And that also there's a link between peer influence and the excessive alcohol use as well, also because of the stress that these adolescents were experiencing. So, do they support or negate the hypothesis? The hypothesis is that adolescents who experience stress at work develop problematic alcohol patterns. And remember, the purpose of the study was to find the correlation between adolescents who experience work stress and then develop excessive drinking habits. So the results do support the hypothesis. Academic aspiration was negatively associated with alcohol use and drunkenness, while work stress and negative peer influence were positively associated with alcohol use and drunkenness in adolescents. So further research can now be conducted related to external factors triggering alcohol use in the workplace, patterns of alcohol use, and considering children in different socioeconomic statuses. So that means that they could use this information in the surveys and conduct further studies that maybe go into more detail and can find out more about the socioeconomic statuses of 12th graders who may be experiencing work-related stress and need to cope with that stress by using alcohol.
So now I'm going to discuss the interpretation of our findings. So throughout the study, we found that problematic drinking patterns were more apparent among high school students who experienced stress at work, like she said. The effect of work stress was exacerbated by high negative peer influences that encouraged these adolescents to consume alcohol. On the other hand, positive peer influences correlated with a decrease in the inappropriate alcohol consumption. So some strengths and limitations of this article. To start with the strengths, the biggest one was the large sample size. They used 12,341 participants for the study, and this is a really broad and large representation, so it made the study more credible and reliable. Some limitations: there was no measurement of the pattern of alcohol use over a lifetime, the past year, and the past 30 days. Also, 12th graders may not have taken this survey seriously, or they may not have answered the questions truthfully or accurately, which may have skewed our results a little bit. And lastly, the study did not capture different socioeconomic statuses or children who have dropped out of school.
So now our opinions in our review of this article. Why did we choose this particular article? The reason we chose this article is because it is very relevant to us, and as young adults, we do deal with stressful school and work environment. We both have experienced the stressors of juggling a job, school, and family and social life. We're in the accelerated nursing program at West Coast University, and that can be really stressful because we're learning everything we need to know about a subject in 9 weeks, and that can be impossible. So I can see how maybe a 12th grader who's maybe working a full-time job after high school and trying to get into college to better his life could find that stress and then have peer influences that could force that stressed adolescent to partake in alcohol that could develop unhealthy habits in the future. So this article is interesting and informative, and that is because of the reasons that I just stated. It was interesting, and it uses a very common situation that we hear about all the time. It was very informative with the methods and the research that he used with the survey, and it was overall an interesting concept to explore and something that I would be interested in learning more about in the future.
Okay, so in conclusion, this was a really interesting and relevant study, like she stated, that provoked some questions that we had for possibly further research to be done in the future. So why do adolescents experience so much work-related stress, and what can we do to decrease this stress in order to prevent injuries related to excessive alcohol consumption? That is our presentation, and thank you for watching.
Thank you.